What is going on, guys? It is a beautiful day today here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're usually chasing the $2-3 million luxury motorhomes, but today I want to introduce you guys to someone that has a lot of knowledge in the industry and has been full-time living in this 1996 country coach for the last 3 years. This country coach just turned 30 years old, and some of you may remember a friend of mine from about 5 or 6 years ago that was featured on the channel that is an industry expert, and Brian's been living in this 96 country coach for about the last 3 years. So let's check in with Brian. I want to ask him about full-time living in this 30-year-old country coach, and he's got some great stories to share with us. There's the man himself, N. Seely. So Brian, it's been a little while since we've had you on the channel, but what have you been up to?
You know, just working on motorhomes and traveling throughout the country, spending my summers in Oregon and then coming down into the South in the winters. And then this year just rolling around from different RV resort to different RV resort and then flying out all over the country and working on coaches also.
Yeah, and how long have you been living in this 96 country coach for?
So this will be the third winter that we're starting into right now. So 2 full years, and I've had the coach for 5+.
And what's your background in the RV industry? How long have you been in the RV industry and what have you done?
So when the very first Intrigues came out, I would have worked at Country Coach. Before that, I even worked at Monaco when it was in Colbert, before it went to Colbert. So I worked at Monaco Coach, then I went across the street to Country Coach, and then I left and did what I went to school for, which was car, stereo, and electronics. And I did that for multiple years, and then 2005 is when I went back to work at Country Coach, and then I've been in the RV industry ever since 2005, working for Country Coach. I kind of explain myself kind of like a cat. I don't like to play in the water, but I don't mind to chew on the wires.
What made you decide to go full-time living in this country coach?
I got tired of the winters in Oregon.
Now, Brian's a content creator as well. He also has a YouTube channel, so he does understand we've got to get sponsors for these videos, and there's a product that I've got to recommend to you, and I can actually get you a coupon code for it as well. I've been working with Brooklyn Bedding Mattresses, RVmattress.com, for I think over 5 years now. They make high quality mattresses that go in all different sizes RVs, so whether you've got an RV king size bed or a bunk coach, they have different firmnesses, different styles, whether you want a firm mattress, medium, more soft, and they have free shipping within the United States, 120-night sleep trial, and a 10-year warranty. And Brian, I'll have to get you hooked up with them. Maybe you can do some sponsorship for your YouTube channel, but if you do want to use the coupon code Andrew Steele, you can get a 30% off discount. I'll make sure to leave that in the description below. I've had my firm Aurora Brooklyn Bedding mattress for several years now. I get a great night's rest on it. And for anyone with a pre-owned motorhome, you know, they all could use a high quality mattress. And you know, sometimes when they get a little aged out, especially at this age, I'm sure you could probably use a new Brooklyn Bedding mattress from RVmattress.com. So we'll make sure to get you hooked up with them. Yeah, and we greatly appreciate them for sponsoring the channel. I'll leave that link in the description below. We greatly appreciate them. But Brian, I got a lot I want to ask you. It's a little loud out here. There's jets taking off. Do you think we could take Seely inside, show him around your coach, and ask you more about it?
Sure, let's do it.
Looks like Brian updated it with some seats out of a Grand Tour there, and real nice looking coach. Looks like Seely's happy here. And is this a non-slide coach?
Yes, this would be a non-slide. The very first year they had actually built the Intrigues.
Yeah, so I like your floor plan here with the opposing sofas here. Now, how do you use the coach? I know you use it a lot. You know, obviously you're full-timing in it, but you take it to the motocross track. Right now we're at Oasis RV Resort. What are some of the places you stay in your coach?
I mean, I stay in resorts, I stay at motocross tracks, I go to truck shows in Lake Havasu, clear out to Indiana. I pull my mini truck behind it. The reason why it has all couches in the front is because we used to sleep. A lot of guys would come along to the races and we would pull a trailer behind us. And you know, we've had some parties in here and we've had the family adventures too. It's a fun way to get out and do things. I love the RV, I mean, especially with the dog and everything.
Now, how many miles have you put on the coach since you bought it? I want to know about problems. What's the biggest problems you've had?
53,000 miles since I got this coach approximately. And I mean, I've only had general maintenance. One time I did have a fuel filter fall off while I was going actually down the road because it wasn't that tight. And we had to, luckily it landed on a frame rail, and so I got myself back up and going while I'm going down the road. I mean, I've had to put batteries in it. I did have an inverter that went bad, so I've changed my inverter to the newer one. You know, but besides that, it's really been just, luckily enough, knock on some quality oak cabinetry, that it's been general maintenance. I mean, I've put the flooring in here, and I've just recently I did a front TV upgrade to a 50-inch and got rid of the head knocker there. And I have in my lifetime of owning the coach, I guess these are the biggest things. Once would be an inverter, which nowadays would be about $2,000 just for the part. And then when I got the coach from the fire damage, I replaced the air conditioners with some takeoffs off of a Newmar. Those only lasted a couple years. So now I've got brand new air conditioners that I bought that have a warranty.
Now, you said fire damage. Can you elaborate how you got this coach? I think you got kind of a crazy deal on this coach, and what's the whole story?
So this coach was involved in a storage fire, and I worked at the facility where the storage fire was at the time. But this coach luckily was on the outer perimeter, and the fire department was shooting over the top of it to put out the coaches next to it. The coach that was right next to it, the LP tank had went off, kind of put this wide burned area in the center of the coach, luckily. And so then it got damaged. The roof air conditioner covers all melted into the top, and the bathroom skylight had reversed and was holding water. And I ended up getting it. I bought it from the guy's insurance company for $7,000.
Wow, and this would be a probably $100,000 rig if it, you know, normally.
At that time, it was worth about, I want to say, at least $60,000 coach at that time when I got it for $7,000. And then I put another $4,000 worth of money and, of course, some time into it.
So $7,000 for this house, 3 years of rolling 50,000 miles. Let's come back and take a seat back here. I want to ask you more about some of your adventures. What are you doing out here in Vegas right now?
So I came out for SEMA to check a few things out and to work on some coaches. People call me, and then I get a couple people, different locations, and then I'll have a couple guys in another location, and then we just put them together.
So being a full-time RVer and an RV technician, what's the best advice that you would have? And for any pet owners out there, Sealy is extra lovey today, but what advice would you have for folks out there that are maybe thinking about full-time RVing?
I mean, if you're going to have pets with you, then I would personally, I want to have Wi-Fi in my coach, and then I want to have a thermostat or a way to monitor the temperatures of the inside of my coach when I'm away from it. Mine, I use the micro air thermostat, and then that way I can check at the coach temperatures, and then if it does lose power, it'll say no AC power because of the Dometic air conditioners I have. So that's my biggest safety thing for the dog, at least.
Just monitor that air conditioning temperature, so Sealy's not in a hot coach, especially out here in, you know, the desert. It can get real hot out here, and yeah, I've seen if power goes out at a resort or something, that has happened.
Yeah, that last season did actually happen at the Motor Coach Country Club, where the power went out to the whole park, and so we were all just running our air conditioners because it was too hot inside the units. Yeah. So you'd have known that when you were away that you're going to need to get back to the coach because of the temperatures in it.
Now, you've worked on all different types of RVs. Is there certain brands that you would recommend over others, or what feedback or advice do you have for folks based on what RV brand to buy?
I mean, that's a heavy question because it all really comes down to how much you're going to spend. Even the price that you want to spend, how old of a coach do you want to not have to worry about other nuisance to go with it? Or do you need to sleep at night with a warranty or not? But in my personal opinion, the older pre-def coaches are what I want to look for. And I want to find a coach that's more than likely made in Oregon, so such as the Country Coach or the Monaco brand products that they had built. Just because the steel structure, the monocoque construction, it's safer, much safer. I mean, you see these pictures and these videos that Andrew is showing, these pictures where the whole rear of the coach is just tacoed completely and there's just nothing. That will not happen if you lay one of these Country Coaches or an older Monaco over on its side through some pretty violent situations. It's going to still be a coach and you're going to be able to find your belongings. So that's why I go with the older stuff.
Now, when you say older Monaco, I know Rev Group, I think Navistar bought Monaco at one point, but now they're owned by Rev Group.
So to define that, anything that was made in Coburg, so that would have been 2008 and older, is really what you're looking for.
But check that VIN plate and that manufacturer. Does it say on the
on
VIN
a
plate?
Roadmaster chassis? If it's on a Roadmaster chassis, then it's a true Monaco built. Because after that, they didn't make Roadmaster chassis. They put them on something else. You know, so, and if you start to open doors, you'll find on the ends of plumbing bay, on the ends of the plumbing tank, it'll say Plant 10, Coburg, Oregon. I mean, that's the easiest way to define them. And then that's going to be like the Dynasty product line on up, which goes Dynasty, Exec, and then Sig. And then we can start to talk about Holiday Ramblers and Navigators.
Yeah, so what
Beaver
Holiday Rambler,
Contesters.
Beavers? Yeah.
It goes on and on. It's just the stuff that you find that had the most amount of money that was expensive from Monaco back in the day is going to be their Plant 10 coaches. I mean, and they did an amazing thing with those. I mean, that was a mass producing beast that they had there in Coburg. And then Country Coach was there.
Now, going back, I want to clarify a little bit because you use some of the slang terms for these coaches. So when he said SIGs, he's talking about Monaco signatures. We're talking about Monaco executives. Diplomat? What about Monaco Diplomat?
Well, no, there was some Diplomats that were made in Coburg, but they weren't made on Plant 10 production line. So they wouldn't have the solid 3/4 inch plywood with veneer construction and the solid oak edge. They would be more of a skeleton coach. So that's why we say like the Dynasty and up and the Contessa up when we talk about the Beaver and those.
What about like a Monaco Knight?
Well, anything that's side radiators kind of define it more, and then especially tag axle.
Okay.
You know, so that's really the difference. Because you had the Windsor, the Knight.
But those weren't the same level of coach
the same level.
So the big dog Monacos are going to be the executive, the signature, what else?
The Dynasty.
And the Dynasty.
Yeah.
And then the Holiday Rambler, you've got the Navigator. What else?
Oh, the Scepter, and then I think there was another one. I didn't spend enough time with those guys hanging out. I was over building Country Coaches, and I didn't want to memorize that stuff.
What about the Beavers? The Contessa?
So the Contessa, and then there was the Patriot Thunder.
Yeah, Patriot Thunders were nice. What else?
Yeah, you got me off today. I mean, I can tell you every Country Coach model we ever built, even a Class C Max that nobody can probably find it in the Rhapsody. But no, Monaco's great Oregon-made product. So that's just really what I want to go with. And then if it was, Monaco had Indiana plants too. So those are those elementary ones that Andrew's talking about. Look for Plant 10, tag axle, you know, Monaco's. And that's how you're really going to know.
Yeah, a lot of really high quality coaches out there, but a lot of them are going to have kind of the oak cabinets where these are kind of coming back into style again, but a lot of people don't, you know, they're kind of an older, more grandma's cabin type feel in a lot of these coaches, but still a lot of those running around, especially up in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of great, you know, service people too. And you were talking about recently too that you've got there's a lot of sources that a lot of folks don't know about in that whole area of Eugene, Oregon. A lot of RV industry people that kind of have small little mom and pop shops around there.
That's the key. Is there's two places that everybody thinks they got to go to when they're in Lane County that are the big shops. There's a lot of shops though that have been there for many years. There were sub places. You know, you have Davis Cabinets that's in Junction City where Motorhomes would leave straight brand new with the customer from a factory delivery over there and have custom woodwork done. Then you have Kaiser Brake and Alignment for say, which is who everybody uses for when they start to deal with chassis and stuff like that. There's Source Engineering, which was a bunch of Monaco guys that know chassis stuff. There's a lot of resources when you go into Oregon, and the nice thing is when you do those is you end up with a small list at each service center and you get it done. You don't have to worry about going through this huge list at the end of going, did this job get done? Oh, okay, I like the guy, he did the zip ties there and everything, and following up. That's one thing in the service world is you have to QC your own work because there's QC going in the coaches when they're built, but there's not a lot of QC when coaches are getting serviced. So QC your own service item list is the biggest thing that I express, following out of where you went for just different shops.
Yeah, is there any big mistakes that you see RVers making, or what's the most expensive mistakes you see RVers making?
Not doing research into the facilities they're going to, or sadly enough having to pay for people to learn how to work on their coach, even a reputable facility. A lot of things, there's a troubleshooting manual for the entry step. There's a troubleshooting manual for this. A lot of people, I don't know, they don't like to read the manual. And if you read the manual and you find the data, it's much easier to troubleshoot things. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm finding right now, is that people just can't get in, get a job. I mean, when I do a job, I'm counting how many items I have to carry out the door to get it down to the least amount of items, because I'm trying to be efficient. I like to make money and work on coaches, but I don't want to make it there forever. I mean, the dog's waiting on me. So I want to get in, get out, get you taken care of, make sure the zip ties are there, quality work, and put your name on it in the end. You know, my big thing right now is that when I do TV installs, we're going to start signing them. That's something we started in the last year, just because it's ownership. You know, that's the big thing. Will the technician or the company, will they own what they're doing for you?
And Brian's got a lot of good content on his YouTube channel, so I'll leave that in the description below, as well as Instagram. If someone wants to get a hold of you, would shoot you a DM on Instagram, or what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the Instagram, or the main thing is BrianMoto773 again, except for that's at Gmail. Don't forget to include your phone number in there, because I'm not a big email guy back and forth. We'll get some conversation started.
Awesome, Brian. Appreciate you. Also appreciate all of you out there liking, subscribing, and sharing. Hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.